What is good, guys? It's Ray J back with another video, and in this one I want to break down what's happening with Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down what's going on with the economic calendar moving forward, some very important factors involving the market, so what you should be watching for as time progresses. But let me just mention that I am not a financial planner. Make sure you take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo and deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. Deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed 15 in total, and the offer is very, very soon. Anyways, now let's break down what's happening with the markets. Looking at Tesla in a very, very interesting phase. We're seeing some buyers trying to bring it back up to this 250 area. We're seeing it kind of shuffling near here. But overall, the trend is more bearish after we got this big red bar. So this is actually causing this big rejection. So we got this nice little pop back up to this 258 area for them to grab liquidity, triggering stops from right over here, only to reject it right back down. Tesla is showing weakness. It is looking more weak, especially compared to other stocks out there. And there's weakness developing on it for a number of different reasons, especially because of the semiconductor industry, which is kind of like under a bit of a risk after some of the things that former President Trump has said, and also because of other factors as technicals are also taking over. But I'm going to break down more information about Tesla stock in just a couple of minutes. I want to talk about something else. Firstly, the economic data. So, just as a reminder, today is Wednesday. There's not really much data coming out today. It's all very, very minor. We just have the 20-year bond auction at 1 p.m., then the Fed beige book at 2 p.m. It's all very, very minor, nothing too crazy. Now, as a reminder, I also want to mention that we also are seeing some new news coming out that Barclays is seeing a risk of Tesla's stock rally to reverse on a bad Q2 print. And I'm seeing news like this all the time. This is actually what's been happening for quite some time. We tend to see a lot of negative news involving Tesla and other stocks out there when it comes to things like this. There are a lot of like negative potential misses that are coming out from these analysts who are talking about how their margins may not be as good as what other people are expecting. And a lot of negative news is coming out, so we'll see how it goes. But just remember that these same analysts were also saying that Tesla would miss when it comes to their deliveries. Tesla ended up doing relatively well. So I wouldn't fully just, believe everything that's being said right here. I just want to call this out. On top of all of this, there's also news coming out that Tesla's planning to ship dry electrode 4680 battery cells by the end of 2024. That is actually a good piece of news because this was actually introduced and unveiled back in 2020. This is the highly anticipated 4680 battery. The complete version of the 4680 cells will likely be produced using Tesla's dry electrode process. And it's actually coming out from a Chinese publication. Now, the importance about this is the fact that this is going to be very effective for mass production. It's also going to be using very, very different processes from what's actually typical. And this could also help reduce costs. That's actually going to be another important thing that's coming out. Now, another thing that's worth noting is that the final design is basically going to be a very, very big step for mass production, which could help bring costs down for the longer term. Right now, the costs are a little bit more expensive because of the fact that it's not really in the same phase quite yet. So we'll see what kind of progress Tesla makes, and if they could actually start to kind of scale this up to a much larger level to start bringing down those margins. That's going to be a very, very important thing in my personal opinion, and we'll just have to see how things end up going. So I'm sorry, did I say bring down margins? I meant improve margins. Sorry about that, guys. Quick correction. If they want to improve those margins, the batteries are going to be a very, very big component of that, at least for the vehicles. Anyways, going back, Tesla also is talking about the Model Y subsidy that could be coming out in the Netherlands. This is actually very, very useful, which could help bring in a lot more sales. So very, very useful stuff in the Netherlands and other parts of Europe. That's something else that's worth noting. Anyways, for Tesla, I just want to mention that we're looking kind of weak right here. We're still continuing to fall. So I do see us potentially coming down towards the 248s. I'll be watching to see how well this ends up holding up. We're very much just struggling to hold above 250. So with this big red bar, like I said, we're still looking kind of weak. And I'll be looking at this test where this blue trend line happens to be. So if we do end up hitting this trend line, we'll see if we get a big bounce or not. If we lose this, we'll turn even more bearish. So that's going to be a very, very big test. So I'll be watching to see how well Tesla ends up holding up. But it is looking a little bit more bearish for now. As far as SPY goes, I do see a possible falling wedge that could be forming, but I'm not going to promise that this will end up playing out or not. We need confirmation and a break past 560 to turn back to bullish. If we fail to do so, if we fail to get any kind of break here, we could actually remain bearish. So right now, the trend is bearish. We're making lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. So it may continue to downtrend within the bounds of this falling wedge, but there is potential for a breakout later on if we get confirmation and we start actually seeing that on the chart. As of right now, we're not seeing that. There is a setup that could be forming, so I want to just call this out, but we'll just have to wait and see if this ends up being the case. It could even take like another day or two for it to pan out, but as of right now, we're bearish. Even if we are forming a falling wedge, we are still bearish, so we'll just have to give this some time. For ES, we saw quite a rug pull on this, and it actually looks a little bit more bearish. I could be looking for a little bit more downside towards the lower 5640s, and that could actually lead to even more downside, at least moving forward. So I just want to call that out. For the QQQ, we're also dipping quite a bit. I'm going to be looking for 482 as a potential target. If we lose 484, watch 482.5. We're actually looking more bearish, especially on a 4-hour time frame on the triple Q. So it's still continuing to fall. There's no sign of a big bounce yet, and this actually favors a bigger move down. On the 4-hour time frame, you'll also notice that we look really bearish, and I think we're about to test previous resistance becoming supports around 484. If that fails us, I think we could be filling this imbalance all the way down towards the 480 area. So I'm seeing some weakness on the QQQ. I'm seeing the weakness perpetuating, and I think there's a good chance that may continue. Aapl has the support at 226. This is going to be our 50 EMA. Resistance is currently at 231. We're just stuck within this range. So if we break 231, we turn bullish. If we lose 226, we turn bearish. Otherwise, we're just kind of range bound on Aapl, but there is some weakness developing on the chart. So watch and see. We could get closer to 226 again, but we'll see what kind of reaction we get. Supermicro came down. I called out in my morning video 831. We're actually losing that, so it's even weaker than what I was calling out. So our next target is actually currently at 820 as support. If that fails us, I'll be looking for basically 802. And if we hold that, I'll be looking at resistance around 831 all over again, then 840. For the IWM Russell 2000, we did dip a little bit towards 222.5. We did call out that level 2, but we're still stuck within this channel. I do see a little risk of it dipping a little bit more, but it could still bounce as the trend is still bullish. AMD is looking more bearish after the semiconductor news, so I expect a little bit more downside, unfortunately. Coinbase is building some strength to dip, but only to rebound, so look for some shuffling around this 250 area. The 4-hour looks bullish, so does the chart. Amazon's looking a little bit more bearish. We actually lost our 200 EMA. We need to reclaim 188.5 to turn back to bullish. Otherwise, there's a risk of it dipping all the way down to 185. Meta is dipping exactly as you predicted. I said that if we failed to hold 497 yesterday, look for a bigger drop. I also mentioned to you guys today that if we failed to hold the support right here around 478, expect a much bigger drop. Lo and behold, that's what happened. We're now approaching support around 468, so it looks more bearish to me. For Microsoft, looking a little bit more bearish, but make sure you watch 439. If we lose that, look for a bigger drop. If we hold this, we could try to rebound. But look for that support. I think it's going to be retesting that, so we'll see if we bounce or not. And then Google's also dipping. Going to be looking for a test of about this imbalance around 181. So we'll see how things go, guys. I want to thank you all so much for listening. Please have a great day. And I'll see you guys very soon in just about a couple of hours. Have a great day, guys, and peace out.